I'm Ryan Yamamoto. Memorial set to begin any minute now for Oakland police officer Tuan Lay. He was shot and killed late December while working an undercover burglary operation near Jack London Square. 4 people are currently in custody in connection to the murder and burglary. That memorial being held at Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. This is a look at police officers lined up outside the church to pay their respects. Officers riding on horseback to honor the fallen officer. Today is one of more opportunity for friends and family to come together and say goodbye. And this is video from earlier this morning of the motorcade making its way from 6th Street in Oakland to the church in Castro Valley. Again, Officer Lay's memorial will be starting any minute now. Our live coverage continues right now on CBS News Bay Area. And if you're just joining us right now, a moment of remembrance in the Bay Area as Oakland Police Officer Tuan Lay is now being honored. Memorial is about to get underway as family and friends gather at Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. For more than a week, the community has been in mourning over the loss of Officer Lay. Today will be one more opportunity to come together and say goodbye. Lay was working undercover late last month when he was shot while responding to a burglary at a cannabis business. He's being remembered as a devoted husband and bridge between the Vietnamese community and the city of Oakland. Lay was born in Vietnam, moved to Oakland over 2 decades ago. He graduated from the police academy in 2020. This is video from earlier today of the motorcade making its way from Oakland to Castro Valley. Once again, that public memorial is set to start any minute now. Here's also video of just moments ago as law enforcement officers are lined up together ahead of the memorial service. This is the motorcade that made its way from Oakland into Castro Valley to the Three Crosses Church. And also happening, a look at the American flag raised between 2 fire trucks just outside of the Three Crosses Church, and there's the officers all lined up. As we check in now with Sean Chitness, who is live in Castro Valley with more on the funeral services and today's memorial. And we'll check in with Sean in just a bit. In the meantime, officers will be wearing black mourning badges across their badges. Flags will be flying at half-staff throughout the city and likely through the state. Once the body of the fallen officer does arrive at church, that procession will begin. Once again, this is a live look, I believe, at the flag that's draped between the Alameda County Fire Department's 2 ladders as that procession and the motorcade and the officer and body of Tuan Lay will make its way underneath that flag. The procession will also be led by a riderless horse, and you're now looking live right now as those officers are standing by for the motorcade to make its way in front of that church. The horse that you will see will be draped in a black blanket, empty boots facing backwards, this symbolizing the final ride of the officer, the boots facing backwards representing him looking back at his fellow officers and his family for one last time. As you will see, hundreds of law enforcement officers are gathering now. A lot of people from Oakland
Okay, I have IFB again.
Across the state will attend that service. Typically, each department will try to send at least one representative to take part in the motorcade procession and or attend the funeral. Once again, this is happening at Three Crosses Churches in Castro Valley. And Officer Tuan Lay was killed on December 29th while responding to a burglary at a cannabis business near Oakland's Jack London Square. Let's go live to Sean Chitness, who is live this morning outside Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. Sean, just a somber scene outside today.
Well, absolutely, Ryan. And as you can probably tell from our live picture here, these officers have been standing in formation for several minutes now, and the rain is probably the worst we have seen all morning. So really just one more example of the dedication that they want to show in this moment and in this day that we try to say what has become essentially the final goodbye to Officer Lay in a week plus of mourning. We've had the opportunity to attend some of those different services and events to try and remember Officer Lay. Last Friday, there was a service in Oakland's Chinatown that really fell on the Buddhist tradition that his family practices. And so today now we see just so many people from the law enforcement community that are here. There are hundreds of Oakland police officers officers all lined up in formation in front of the church. They are waiting for Officer Lay's remains to arrive, and we know that the family will be right behind that hearse when it does make it here to the church. I've also been told that the pallbearers who will be taking that casket into the church for the service are members of the squad that Officer Lay was a part. He was a community resource officer for OPD, and so that is certainly a touching way to show their respect by being the ones who will get to bring his remains into the church. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about what we've been seeing here this morning, since we've spent the last several hours watching as they had preparations get here. We were in place as the procession arrived with the motorcade well before all of these officers were ready and in place to begin their part of the tribute. We also saw as the 2 fire trucks from Alameda County came in place to raise an American flag that is now flying in the strong winds that we've seen. The weather certainly has not been cooperating as well as most people would like, but still everyone working together, showing their respect and really wanting to do this in solidarity for Officer Lay. So it's been very impressive to watch what we've been seeing over the last hour plus. Ryan?
All right, well, thank you very much, Sean Chitness, reporting live in front of the Three Crosses Church. This is in Castro Valley. Once again, you're looking at a live picture from in front of the church right now where those funeral services and the memorial will be held. Any moment now, those officers now waiting for the arrival of the body of Officer Tuan Lay. You can see most of those officers are Oakland police officers. Most of the department is likely at the funeral and the memorial services today. And because this is a fraternity among police officers throughout the state of California, you'll see other officers from other departments from across the state attending the funeral services. You'll also see other departments from across the state in Alameda County helping in to enforce the law enforcement in Oakland to allow these police officers to attend the service. And in the meantime, as of now, there have been 4 arrests in this case so far. Some were arrested in connection of Lay's murder, others in connection to the burglary that took place right before. 3 of the suspects were arrested in Alameda County. Alan Starr Brown charged with murder and other felonies in Lay's death. Mark Standers is the man who police say actually shot and killed Lay, and Sabron Russell charged with burglarizing the marijuana dispensary. The 4th arrest was made in Southern California connected to the robbery. And community members came together in an emotional ceremony on Friday to honor Officer Lay. His friends, his family, and elected leaders packed the room. Among the people who came was his friend, Yvonne Fung.
Our community lost such a wonderful person, I still feel like that is very unreal and true to me. He signed up for this job to make our community safer and more connected together. All this could have been prevented. That's my personal opinion. But moving forward, it should be a good wake-up call for everyone to know that, something must change. Something drastic, big, that needs to be changed.
And as we once again remember the life and the service of Officer Tuan Lay from the Oakland Police Department, the rain and drizzle now coming down in Castro Valley as we wait for the fallen officer and his body and the motorcade to arrive for those memorial services to begin. Then you'll also see the tradition and rituals that also happen whenever there is a funeral with a police officer, especially for someone who has died in the line of duty. You're looking live right now, the Three Crosses Church. As you can see, the officers from Oakland PD now on standby. That public memorial will begin any moment now, as once again, we're waiting for the arrival of that motorcade. And amid all the rain today, a rainbow did appear over the Bay Area on this day of remembrance for Officer Lay. That drizzle and the rain adding to the somber day, but that rainbow, a shining light of hope. And while we wait for the service to start, let's check in with First Alert meteorologist Jessica Birch with a look at today's forecast.
It's a cool and windy day for us today here in the Bay Area, with rain still falling until the evening hours tonight. As we take a look at the wind gusts, we can see anywhere up to around 40-mile-per-hour winds along our coastline, with breezy conditions stretching off into our inland areas too. So just keep that in mind. Any outdoor objects, you probably want to secure them earlier rather than later. Now here's that rain I was talking about. It's light in the grand scheme of things, but we still have those offshore showers moving their way in from the north, heading into the afternoon hours today. This amounts to less than 1/100 of an inch of rain throughout the Bay Area. area, and it does dry up pretty fast into the overnight hours tonight as we gear up for sunshine in the forecast tomorrow. But we're not done with the rain just yet. Yes, we are going to get a break, but we have more in the long-range models. In the next 8 to 14 days, the Climate Prediction Center is showing wetter than normal conditions, and that's definitely the case for us here in the Bay Area. Take a look at this. Daytime highs today, they're cool. I mean, we're talking about 50s in the forecast for us today. Cool conditions in the overnight hours tonight. We could drop down to the 30s tonight for our overnight lows, so just keep that in mind as we gear up and head out the door. Now, all throughout the Santa Clara Valley, all the way off into the East Bay and the Tri-Valley area too, we're sitting in the 50s today, and we don't see too much of a change in the forecast as we head into the next 7 days. Here's what it's looking like for our inland forecast. 50 is stretching all the way into next week. But the big change in the forecast, really, it's just this unsettled weather pattern that we're seeing. Sunshine tomorrow, clouds rolling in on Friday, and then more rain in the forecast for us as we head into Saturday. And that's just our inland forecast. Notice how that pairs up really nicely with all of our friends along the bay, too. More 50s in sight, more sunshine tomorrow, clouds rolling in on Friday. It sounds like I'm repeating myself, right? Here we go into Saturday, more rain as we head into the weekend.
And thank you, Jess. If you're just joining us, a moment of remembrance once again happening in the Bay Area. This is happening in Castro Valley. The Bay Area remembering the life and the service of Oakland police officer Tuan, who will be honored today at a memorial. That memorial is about to get underway as family and friends gather once again at Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. You can see the line of police officers awaiting the arrival of the fallen officer and his body in that motorcade. For more than a week, the community has been in mourning over the loss of Officer Lay. Today will be one more opportunity for this community to come together and say goodbye. Lay was working undercover late last month while he was shot while responding to a burglary at a cannabis business. He's being remembered as a devoted husband, also a member of the community, with the Asian American community, and a bridge between the Vietnamese community and the city of Oakland. Just an important piece and cog and that whole idea of community and policing and within the community of the Asian community in Oakland. Lay was born in Vietnam, moved to Oakland over 2 decades ago. He graduated from the police academy back in 2020. Let's give you some video from earlier today of the motorcade that made its way from Oakland to Castro Valley. Again, the public memorial is set to begin any minute right now. This is the motorcade. As you can see, several police officers and several officers' vehicles in that motorcade as the body is now was being taken from Oakland to Castro Valley. We're now waiting for the motorcade to make its way in front of the church. And here's also video just from moments ago as law enforcement officers lining up ahead of that memorial service. They're gathered, standing at attention. The officers wear black mourning ribbons across their badges. They're wearing the white gloves in their formal attire. Flags will also fly at half-staff throughout the city and likely through the state. And then you can see the large flag draped across the 2 ladders of the fire trucks as that memorial and the motorcade will make its way underneath that flag. Sean Chitnis has been with us all morning long at that motorcade. He is once again live outside Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. And Sean, what can you tell us about the motorcade? Have you seen it, and do they expect it to arrive anytime soon? Yeah, Ryan. So we are actually able to see the ramp that comes off of the freeway and that will lead the motorcade into the church. And so we have seen the motorcycles and now the larger vehicles that are all coming off the freeway and working their way toward the church. So we expect that they will be here shortly. And I just wanted to pick up on a couple of things you had mentioned, which was that it was a beautiful moment when we saw that rainbow coming right above the church. Obviously not the conditions that we're dealing with this moment, as these officers have been standing in the rain now, truly soaked into their uniforms for quite some time now. Well before 10 o'clock is when the rain really picked up. So we're continuing to watch those patrol cars come through that ramp, and then they'll slowly make their way over here. Again, once the hearse arrives, that's when we expect all these officers who are in formation to head up into the church. We know that the pallbearers will be members of the Community Resource Office squad that Officer Lay was a part of. I'm going to be quiet now so we can listen in as the vehicles arrive. So if you're just joining us right now, the motorcade for Officer Tuan, the Oakland PD officer, then that his body has just arrived in front of the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley, and they're now in a moment of silence as we listen in and watch this memorial service.
Just to let folks know that the casket has just arrived and the procession is just now forming as far as entrance into the church. So I'm guessing another 5 to 10 minutes. So thank you for your patience.
I'm not able to. Yeah, okay. And so we are now seeing those vehicles move into place as all the officers are here in place. We watched as the motorcade made its way up, and so now we're just a few moments away from it making its way to the actual place where the hearse can come to a stop, and then they can take the next steps into the procession. So we're going to be able to hear those vehicles coming in just a moment. I can hear them working their way up the hill that leads into this church's driveway. It has still been quite some time for them to make it all the way up here. They're certainly moving slowly because they need to, but we are now waiting for that final moment here for the hearse and then the family members who will be behind it to get in place right in front of the church. Ryan?
Okay, thank you very much. Sean Chitness reporting live from the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley as we wait for the arrival of Officer Tuan in the beginning of that memorial service. There was another memorial a few days ago in Oakland where friends, co-workers, and community members came together to honor Officer Tuan. That one was held at the Pacific Renaissance Plaza. Don Lin was there.
Our community lost such a wonderful person, you know. Yeah, I still feel like that is very unreal, untrue to me. He signed up for this job to make our community safer and more connected together. All this could have been prevented. That's my personal opinion. But moving forward, it should be a good wake-up call for everyone to know that, you know, like something must change. Something drastic, big, that needs to be changed.
And once again, we are live, joining us live right now as we are awaiting the arrival of Officer Tuan at the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. You're looking live right now in front of the church in Castro Valley for the memorial service of Officer Tuan, the Oakland police officer, and the patrol officers now standing at attention. The pallbearers also standing there, the motorcade, those motorcycle officers that led that motorcade first into the area of Castro Valley. Sean Chitness is reporting live saying that motorcade should be arriving in front of the church any moment now. Once again, Officer Tuan was killed in the line of duty. This happened back in December 29th while trying to stop a burglary at a cannabis dispensary. He was an undercover officer, and as you can see, the Body in the casket now arriving right now. Let's just kind of take a moment and listen in. So as we await for the memorial service, there was another memorial just a few days ago. This one happened in Oakland, where friends, co-workers, and community members came together to honor Tuan. That was held at the Pacific Renaissance Plaza. Da Lim was there.
A Buddhist master conducts a ceremony to help Officer Tuan transition to his next life. Organizers say he came from a Buddhist family that believes in reincarnation.
Sending our love and appreciation to Officer Lei, but also to his family.
Community members and elected leaders packed the room. Among the people who came was friend Ivan Fong.
Our community lost such a wonderful person, you know. Yeah, I still feel like that is very unreal, untrue to me.
It's still hard for him to process the loss.
In that program, he's more like an older brother to me.
Back when they were in high school, Ivan and Officer Lei were members of a youth program based in Oakland, Chinatown called Asian Youth Services Committee. They volunteered at various events to gain leadership and social skills to prepare for college. Ivan says he copes with the grief by remembering Officer Lei's big smile.
He's like a big teddy bear, right? So he's always smiling. I have not ever seen him got mad, even though in a really difficult situation. He's always very supportive. He's very nice.
The public vigil allowed people to mourn the loss and thank him for years of service to the community, even before he became a police officer.
Because of his own understanding culture, but also his language ability, he was able to help many people.
He signed up for this job to make our community safer and more connected together.
Ivan hopes this will be a wake-up call for elected leaders. He wants them to invest more in public safety.
All this could have been prevented. That's my personal opinion. But moving forward, it should be a good wake-up call for everyone to know that, something must change. Something drastic, big, or however you want to, that needs to be changed.
And once again, you're looking at live pictures and video coming outside the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley as we await the arrival of the motorcade of Officer Tuan, the Oakland PD officer that was killed in the line of duty. This happened on December 29th. That casket will be taken inside the church where a memorial service will begin. You can see the officers standing at attention right now, members of the Oakland Police Officers Association. And also members, it looks like members of the family and other dignitaries are now making their way inside the church. Our Sean Chitness has been there all morning long. Or do we have Sean? Can Sean talk? Let's go back out to Sean Chitness. And Sean, what can you tell us about the motorcade and the procession? It looks like the family members are making their way inside the church now.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. We were able to watch as they were able to bring Officer Lei's remains into the church. We saw the casket draped in an American flag, and then we were told that soon after that it would be his family members who were entering the church with him. So we believe that they are now taking their place inside, and that is why this formation was waiting for that. We can now see the officers are starting to go one single line after the other to head into the church, and so then that will allow for them to take the next step in this ceremony and begin the memorial service. But it was, again, quite an impressive sight to watch all these officers stand here, hundreds of officers that are part of OPD in the rain as the rain was coming down quite strong, and it was quite cold here, and so they have kept their composure, remained silent, and waited for that moment for Officer Lei's remains to arrive. And so now they have the signal that they can start to work their way into the church, and that the memorial service should be able to start soon after that. Ryan?
All right, thank you very much, Sean Chitness. You're looking live right now inside the Three Crosses Church, inside in Castro Valley right now. The casket and the body of Officer Lei has now arrived at the church. We're just waiting for them to the pallbearers to wheel and carry the casket to the front of the church where the services of this memorial will begin. Once again, today will be an opportunity for the community to come together, for Oakland and the Bay Area and the fraternity of police officers to remember and memorialize one of their own who died in the line of duty. Lee was working undercover last month when he was shot while responding to a burglary call at a cannabis business. This was near Jack London Square. That happened on the night of December 29th. He's being remembered as a devoted husband, also a bridge between the Vietnamese community and the city of Oakland. This is a live look outside that church as family members and dignitaries are making their way inside. Lê was born in Vietnam, moved to Oakland over 2 decades ago. He graduated from the police academy back in 2020 and served his community well. Once again, he was working as an undercover officer at the time of the shooting. It's a story that we covered quite extensively here on KPIX. You can see the photo of Officer Lê sitting there with the American flag with the blue ribbon and the flowers, and you see the honor guards standing there. So those honor guards will stand watch with the body. So since the beginning of this episode and since the grieving process has begun, it is tradition that the officer of the body of the fallen officer is never alone. There's always an honor guard standing by 24/7 with the body. That will happen throughout the service and will happen until Officer Tuan Lê is laid to rest. But once again, the officers wearing black mourning ribbon bands across their badges. Flags will fly at half-staff. This will happen throughout the city and likely throughout the state. Hundreds of law enforcement officers from across the state will attend this service. Most likely, you'll see a member and a representative from every department across the state of California, even across the country. Typically, each department will try to send one representative to take part in that motorcade procession and or attend the funeral services. The Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley, this is the scene for the final days and the remembrance and memorial for Officer Tuan Lê. Let's go back out to Sean Chitness right now.
Well, Ryan, you know, we have been watching as the officers work their way up the steps here. We do know that Officer Lê's remains have entered the church, and we have seen people walking into the building. But I just wanted to note again at how many officers we're able to see in this one position here. There has to be around 100 officers in one row, and there were probably about 5 rows when this formation was in place before that motorcade arrived. And so we are slowly watching each of those officers go up the stairs. I think we've had 2 rows make their way into the church, or in the process of doing that. We still have at least 3 rows here. And as you've been talking about this hour, it is certainly the Oakland Police Department and several members of OPD here, but it is other law enforcement agencies that are in place as well. We know that Mayor Sheng Tao is in place. We were able to watch her arrive earlier this morning. We also saw that San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins is here. So it really is a show of support from across the Bay Area and those that have so many key positions in the East Bay and in Oakland that wanted to be here to show their respects for Officer Lê. So we continue to watch these officers as they remain in formation, getting ready to enter the church and allow this memorial service to begin. Ryan?
All right, thank you very much, Sean Chitness. Once again, a live look outside the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. We're waiting for the memorial service to begin for Officer Tuan Lê. You saw those photos and video from inside, a live look inside that memorial service where it will take place, and you can see some more officers now making their way inside. So that memorial service will be getting underway any time now. Several dignitaries already here. As Sean Chitness just reported, the family, friends, and members of the community already making their way inside of that church. The body of the fallen Officer Tuan Lê also taken inside the casket. You're looking at a live shot right now. I believe that is Pamela Price in the back of the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. And of course, Mayor Sheng Tao sitting in the front with her legs crossed. She will also be speaking here as, once again, many of the dignitaries from across the Bay Area, including Oakland and San Francisco, Alameda County, will all attend this memorial service. If you're just joining us right now, we are following the memorial for Officer Tuan Lê, the Oakland police officer who died in the line of duty. For more than a week now, the community has been in mourning over the loss of Officer Lê. And today will be that last opportunity to say goodbye to an officer who died in the line of duty. Lê was working undercover last month, December 29th, when he was shot while responding to a burglary call at a cannabis dispensary and business at Jack London Square. He was an undercover officer at the time, but he is also a devoted husband, a devoted member of the community, a bridge between the Vietnamese community and the city of Oakland. He was born in Vietnam and then moved to Oakland over 2 decades ago, where he graduated from the police academy. Officer Lay, once again serving his community well, acting as a bridge between the Vietnamese community and the city of Oakland. This is video from earlier this morning, from moments ago, when the motorcade was making its way from Oakland to Castro Valley. A large procession, a large motorcade, several officers representing from different departments across the state taking part in that motorcade, the family also taking part in that motorcade, and that motorcade arriving in Castro Valley in front of the Three Crosses Church just moments ago, as several members and the dignitaries and people making their way inside the church, and as Officer Lay and his body now making his way in the casket, making its way inside the church where that memorial service will once again begin. So this is also the flag that was draped over the 2 cranes as the motorcade made its way underneath this. This is a tradition, and our cameras were not in position for this, but normally what you will see once the body of a fallen officer does arrive at a church for a memorial service, that procession will be led by a riderless horse. You saw several officers that were on horseback. Well, they'll have one horse normally draped. This is a tradition, draped in a black blanket. Empty boots will be facing backwards. And a lot of people are asking, well, what does this symbolize, the riderless horse? Well, the empty boots facing backwards symbolizing the final ride of the officers, the boots facing backwards representing him looking back at his fellow officers and family one last time. And those members of the officers that will include hundreds of law enforcement officers from across the state. They will attend this service. As I mentioned before, typically each department will send a representative to take part in the motorcade procession or attend the funeral service. A lot of times it is a younger officer so they can understand the gravity of what they do and understand the fraternity that they now belong in. And once again, committee members came together for an emotional ceremony on Friday to honor Lay. Friends, family, elected leaders packed a room. Among the people who came was a friend named Ivan Fung.
Our community lost such a wonderful person, you know. Yeah, I still feel like that is very unreal, untrue to me. We signed up for this job to make our community safer and more connected together. All this could have been prevented. That's my personal opinion. But moving forward, it should be a good wake-up call for everyone to know that, something must change. Something drastic, big, that needs to be changed.
And as we await for the memorial service and as the family and friends and family members and dignitaries and the department tries to find closure, another part of that closure is finding justice. As of right now, there have been 4 arrests in the case so far. Some were arrested in connection to Lay's murder, others in connection to the burglary that took place right before. 3 of the suspects were arrested in Alameda County. Alan Starr Brown charged with murder and other felonies in Lay's death.
Final row of
Mark
officers
Sanders
are going in.
is the man who police say actually shot and killed Lay, and Sabron Russell charged with burglarizing the memorial of a marijuana dispensary. The 4th arrest was made in Southern California connected to the robbery. Let's go back out live at Three Crosses Church where once again, the public memorial will get started anytime soon. If we take a live look outside, it looks like the final line of officers that were standing at attention are now making their way inside the church. This is the final line of Oakland PD officers, members of the patrol, members of the department, now walking inside. As I mentioned before, you'll see several members from other departments from across the state that will attend the funeral services. They will also be standing by helping out Oakland PD and the city of Oakland as those officers are now here at the church. It looks like people are now standing at attention as possibly the casket now making its way inside the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. Let's just take a moment to listen in.
Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to invite Pastor Emeritus of Three Crosses Church and Alco Fire Department Chaplain Larry Vold for the welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Father Jason. On behalf of the Three Crosses family, I want to offer a heartfelt welcome to all who have gathered here today, to Sarah and the entire Lee family, to the Oakland Police Department family, to every law enforcement agency represented here today, both locally and around our country, to elected officials, to every guest and every person in this place, we welcome you as we honor the life of our fallen hero, Tuan Lee. We open the doors of our facility today as a tangible expression of God's love for hurting people. And we are all struck today, emotionally distraught by the events that have taken place. We are saddened, hurt, anxious, even angry, wanting things like this to stop. There's something in all of us that yearns for a society where this kind of violence and evil simply never happens. We cry out for change, for the terrible brokenness we experience all around us to be healed. May our gathering here today be a necessary first step toward the healing we need and long for. Some of us are angry toward God. I understand this, and I believe God does too. And He knows when anger is constructive and when it is self-destructive. I'm praying that all of us today might release our fears and perhaps even any self-destructive anger and receive what God may have for us. You see, God is near the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The church worldwide believes that God sent His only Son, Jesus, whose birth we've recently celebrated, to enter this broken world and experience it Himself. In fact, even taking on the brokenness of our world to provide the ultimate remedy by giving Himself as a willing sacrifice to die on that cross for the sins of the world, and then rising from the grave to prove His power and love so that all may be forgiven and have new life through faith in Him. Allow me to pray for our gathering today. Father in heaven, hallowed be Thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done. We cry out to You for the healing all of us need, and we ask You to comfort Sarah and the Lee family and her extended OPD family and all those who are in law enforcement and everyone gathered here today. We ask You to infuse our words with Your presence so that together by our collective gathering here today, healing might happen. Thank You for every officer present here. Thank You for their courage and strength as they serve our community. On days like this, we realize that their service may demand making the ultimate sacrifice. And so we cry out for Your mercy and protection. Help us, Lord, not to be overcome by evil, but to overcome evil with good. Remind us that those who mourn will be comforted, and that You are the great comforter, a present help in time of trouble, a strong tower to which all sinners and sufferers can run for refuge. Finally, Lord, remind us that while it's difficult for us to be here today, it's good that we are. So speak to us, and in the quietness of our hearts, draw all of us closer to You. I pray this in the name of Your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Vold. Xin chào. On behalf of the family of Officer Tuan Lee and the entire Oakland Police Department, I'd like to welcome all of you to this memorial service. It is with profound sadness that we gather here this day to honor the life and the service of our fallen brother Tuan. We've come together from many places and from many backgrounds, whether a family member or a friend, a fellow Oakland police officer, an officer from another agency, an elected official, or a concerned citizen. We've all come here to pay our respects for the service that Tuan has given us. We find comfort and consolation in the fact that so many of us have gathered here to remember and to give thanks for Tuan's life. I would like to especially thank all the allied agencies that have given so much time, effort, personnel, and support to the Oakland Police Department these past few days, and for all of their contributions to this memorial service. I would also like to thank so many wonderful people from throughout our community, our state, and our country who have offered their condolences and their support for Tuan's family and friends, and their willingness to stand with the women and men of the Oakland Police Department during this very tragic time. Today, we remember Tuan, who made the ultimate sacrifice by giving his life in the pursuit of that noble cause, protecting the residents of Oakland. At this time, it is my privilege to introduce the Honorable Rob Bonta, Attorney General of the State of California.
Hello, I'm Rob Bonta, California Attorney General. I first want to say thank you all for being here to show your love, your support, your admiration, and your respect. I join you in that. As a California Attorney General, as a proud East Bay resident, and on behalf of my partner in life, my partner in service, my wife, Assemblymember Mia Bonta, who represents Oakland, it's a solemn honor to be with you today to mourn the loss and remember the life of one of Oakland's finest, Officer Tuan Le. To recognize his service, his sacrifice, and his love. I didn't have the privilege or the opportunity to personally know Officer Le, but I didn't have to in order to know that he loved this city and that this city loved him. In the wake of his passing, so many of you have shared moving condolences and heartfelt memories about this fallen hero. You've spoken about his big smile and his kind and generous spirit, about his passion for Oakland and his dedication to serving the community he loved so much, about the work he led to build trust and strengthen ties between the Asian community and the Oakland Police Department. Officer Le was hardworking, dependable, driven by a desire to keep his neighbors safe. As Chief Law Enforcement Officer to this great state, as a former legislative representative of Oakland and a proud member of this community, I can ask for nothing more. Officer Le paid the ultimate price, the ultimate sacrifice. We will never forget that. Nor will we forget all that his wife and his mother lost, all that his family and his friends have lost. Proudly donning a uniform, pinning a badge to your chest, and going into the world in service of others takes a tremendous amount of courage. And it takes even more love. Love of community, love of neighbors, of duty. For as Scripture wisely teaches us, no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. California is in debt to the brave law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line each day. Forever in debt to those who traded all of their tomorrows in service to their fellow Californians. And let us not forget the courage, love, and selflessness of the families and friends who send our law enforcement officers out into the world with no guarantees of their return. California will never forget all that you, too, sacrifice. Our fallen heroes, heroes like Officer Lay, live on in the loved ones they left behind. As we grieve, let us vow to remember all the good this young man, gone far too soon, did for others, for Oakland. Let us remember his beauty, his bright light. Let us keep this son of Oakland, this fallen hero, in our hearts and in our prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is my privilege to introduce Chief Darren Allison, Chief of the Oakland Police Department.
First, I want to extend my deepest sympathies to Sarah, Han, and all of Tuan and Sarah's extended family and loved ones gathered here today. Your hurt is our hurt. Your grief is our grief. Every member of the Oakland Police Department feels the pain of your loss. And I, along with the entire department, stand before you completely brokenhearted. To all the first responders here today and those that stepped in to assist and show support during this critical time, I can't thank you enough. Your support means so much to the family, to me, and the members of our department. In a memorial address, President John F. Kennedy stated, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men it honors, the men it remembers." Today, we remember the best of us, Officer Tuan Lay. December 29th, 2023, a date permanently etched in our memory. A date when we heard over the radio, over the phone, or in the hallways that one of our own had been critically wounded by a heinous act. Words that all of us dread to hear, but cause us to move into action. This date will be remembered as a time when a life was cut short and a career ended too soon. A husband, a son, a family member, a friend, a police officer who had so much more to do and so much more to give. A date that not only brought mourning to a family and a department, but also a community. A date that brings us all here today to pay respect and to honor our courageous hero. But although this date is associated with the grief of loss, we need to remember and share our stories of Officer Lay. Stories we shared at yesterday's ceremony. These stories, our treasured memories, will carry on his legacy. Those that knew Tuan described him as funny, loyal, responsible, hardworking, honest, full of integrity, and compassion. Compassion. All these qualities are important for a police officer, but compassion, true care and empathy for others is a critical trait to be an effective police officer. And Officer Lay personified what it was to exude a deep compassion for his law enforcement family and the community he chose to serve. But he wasn't just a compassionate and courageous police officer. He was a devoted and loving husband to his wife, Sarah, a loving son to his mother, Han, and a proud grandson to his grandfather, Mr. Lay, and his grandmother, Miss Nguyen. He was a treasured part of the family and a valued friend. Tuan Lay was born on June 1st, 1987 in Saigon, Vietnam. He moved to the United States at the age of 7 with his mom and settled in Oakland, California. In 2006, he graduated from Oakland High, and early on, he demonstrated a desire to serve and protect. It was in his DNA. You see, Tuan's grandfather had been a police officer in Vietnam, and Tuan vowed to become a police officer just like him. And in 2019, he applied to the Oakland Police Department and entered the 183rd Oakland Police Recruit Academy. It was a dream come true for Tuan. He completed the academy on February 21st, 2020, and although his grandfather had passed away prior to his graduation, Tuan knew he had made him proud. I happen to distinctly remember Tuan's graduation because it happened to be the first academy class I personally presided as an acting chief of police. And I'll tell you, I don't remember who was more nervous as I pinned his badge on his chest, whether it was him or me, but I distinctly recall how carefully I pinned the badge, careful not to drop it or poke him with the pin. But as I successfully pinned his badge, I remember the newly minted Oakland police officer, Tuan Lay, and his broad smile as he beamed with pride in achieving his lifelong dream. He has such a memorable smile. From that day forward, Tuan loved being an Oakland police officer. However, with Tuan's lifelong fascination with fire, as you can see in the pyrotechnics outside, and his love of food, I'm sure at sometimes Sarah wondered why he didn't either become a chef or join the fire department. And no offense to my fire department brothers and sisters who are here, Tuan knew he was in the right profession. He had a true heart for service. His desire to better the lives of others was ingrained in his identity. It was just simply who he was as a person. After serving in patrol, Tuan transferred to our community resource officer position, which makes sense because of his desire and his commitment to helping people. In that role, he worked directly with community to improve their quality of life, enhance safety, and strengthen relationships. His tireless efforts in fostering positive relationships made a lasting impact. I received numerous calls and emails from residents on his community policing beat appreciative of his service and lauding his efforts. Just recently, on December 15th, Officer Lay was one of a team of officers who received the John Grabinski Medal for his quick thinking and actions, which contributed to saving the life of another law enforcement professional who was experiencing a major heart attack. This award historically is given to members who demonstrate initiative or courage when attempting to render life-saving medical aid to another. It's in honor of Officer John Grabinski, who died in the line of duty attempting to rescue a family during the Oakland Hills fire in 1991. The award received by Officer Lay is a testament to who he is as a person and as an officer: proactive, determined, thoughtful, and courageous, a true hero. It's clear Tuan truly cared for others and consistently gave of his time and energy. He didn't do it because he had to. He did it because he wanted to. He demonstrated a sense of purpose even with the challenges of this career. And with Sarah as his support, he knew exactly what he was getting into and was willing and able to accept these challenges. You know, it takes a special person to do this job, and Tuan exemplified the distinct character and courage to do this job well. And to his mom, Han, you raised a great son, a very special person, and I know you're proud. In this moment of grief, I've reflected on the law enforcement profession, and I think that's normal in this time. With all the challenges, frustrations, and sacrifices, people often wonder, why do we do what we do? The job is difficult, it's dangerous, and oftentimes uncertain. We have talented people in law enforcement, and they can do anything else. What I know to be true is we don't do it for the fame or the fortune. There are easier ways to earn a living. But why do we do it? The long hours, the late nights, the never-ending work, constant second-guessing, the risk. The saying that many are called but few are chosen is true in this profession. But again, why do we do it? If this is how it ends, why do we answer the call? I'll tell you why we answer the call. We do it for people. We do it to serve and protect and defend those who cannot. We do it for our families. We do it for your families, so they can have a good life where they can live and thrive from the brokenness that plagues our world. We do it for the person to the left of us and to the person to the right of us who are defending and holding the line alongside us. It is who we are. It is what we do. Brothers and sisters in policing, there's nothing quite like it. This profession is not glamorous, but it's necessary for a safe and orderly society. Officer Lay knew why he did this job. He knew that people depended on him, that without him, there would be chaos in the world. It's a calling that only a few can understand. A calling that involves truly caring about the welfare of others and the greater good. I read a quote that said, "Immortality is to live your life doing good things and leaving your mark behind." Although the loss of Officer Lay leaves a void in our department and in our community, and he will be missed, his legacy of courage, compassion, service, and sacrifice, he'll be immortal. Officer Lay left his mark on our department and in our community. His kindness, his loyalty, and his smile will remain in our memories. A true hero, he'll never be forgotten. And in an age when some question the commitment and integrity of our profession, we know that Tuan did his duty, unwavering and unafraid, protecting our community and seeking justice for victims harmed by criminals. And to honor the memory of Officer Lay, we must continue to do the same, to follow his legacy of courage, compassion, and service, thereby creating a safer and more hopeful society. For everyone that knew Tuan, the time you spent with him is precious. It has created memories. I encourage everyone to lean on these memories, recalling stories of joy and laughter, love and friendship, stories that created unbreakable bonds forged with shared experiences. These memories, these stories will provide comfort in this time of despair. To the serving law enforcement members, those who answer the call, I remember a statement that the former First Lady Barbara Bush made. It's very relevant to how you live your life, and I think it applies to us, especially in law enforcement. She said that at the end of your life, you will never regret not having passed one more test, not winning one more verdict, or not closing one more deal, or in our case, making one more arrest or signing up for one more overtime shift. However, you will regret time not spent with a spouse, a friend, a child, or a parent. So for everyone here who serve, who protect our communities from harm, before you embark on your next shift, kiss your spouse, hug your children, spend a little more time with your parents, family, and friends. If you're frustrated, try to resolve it. Never remain in anger, and make the most of the life you've been given. To my beloved members of the Oakland Police Department, as we gather here today to honor our fallen hero, I honor you for your courage, strength, and dedication to the community and to our department. Tragically, during my career, 10 of our OPD brothers, including Tuan, have made the ultimate sacrifice. Each loss has taken a piece of me, a piece of my heart, a piece of my soul that I'll never get back. But what do? We carry on. We continue to show up. Despite the pain and the hurt, because people depend on us. And I've learned over the years that we will make it through this moment because we have each other. We must lean on one another and our families now more than ever for comfort, confidence, and support. To the 183rd Academy class, I know you've built strong connections with your brother Tuan during your time together. It's a connection that only officers who share in the rigors and the triumphs of an academy class can truly appreciate. It's a connection that stands the test of time. And I know with that connection, your hearts are heavy. I know you miss him. This heinous act is horrible, it's unthinkable, and although the dangers of this profession are real and the sacrifices are significant, it's not typical. I know that you will continue forward honoring Officer Lay and his sacrifice by your actions and your service. I believe in you. Your OPD family will be here to help you and support you along the way. To Officer Lay's squad and his partner, Officer McKinney, who worked with Tuan that tragic night, thank you for coming to Tuan's aid and being there when he needed you most. You did everything you could to help him. You carried him to the hospital on your shoulders. You are heroes. Know that Tuan loved you and he loved being part of the CRO team. As I said the morning I met with you, I know you're hurting. Tragic, heart-wrenching. Do not even begin to describe what happened. Words cannot do this moment justice. But I asked you to trust me that we will come together in this moment to support each other and to ensure justice for our fallen brother and his family. I continue to believe that we will come out of this moment through love. The love you have for Tuan, the love you have for his family, and the love you have for one another. To Sarah, Han, Tuan's family, thank you for sharing Tuan with us. We honor you and recognize your enduring sacrifice. We know the loss of a loved one is a tremendous burden to bear. Words cannot relieve your pain. However, my earnest hope is that as time passes, the memories and stories of Tuan bring smiles and in time will help ease the grief and tears of loss. Here today, as you look around, you will see a massive show of support. It's because Tuan is part of the OPD family and a larger law enforcement family. And to Sarah and Han, you are part of this vast network too. You are also and will always be part of our OPD family. We stand with you and we share in your grief. We will always be here for you and we will never forget you and we will never forget Tuan, the life he lived or the sacrifice he made. May you find comfort with one another and with your OPD brothers and sisters. You know, it's been said that in our sacrifice and suffering, there's glory, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character hope. But hope can be difficult to realize in sorrow, but rest assured, hope does exist. I see hope in the conquering of adversity, hope in humanity, hope there are courageous heroes like Tuan willing to guard, defend, and hold the line. Hope in the fact that evil will not prevail as good women and men stand ready to face it. That's the hope. That's the love. That's the glory. So finally, to Tuan, thank you, brother, for your laughter and love, your friendship and your service. Thank you for all the times you covered us and supported us, your brothers and sisters in law enforcement. Thank you for all the times you answered the call. I know this was not how it was supposed to end, but you can rest easy. You have given us hope. You've given us love. You've held the line. You are a true hero. Just know we have the watch from here. Bless Tuan, bless his family, bless the women and men of the Oakland Police Department.
Thank you, Chief. And now we'll hear a song, One Sweet Day. This time I'd like to introduce Jennifer Key, Tuan's cousin.
For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jennifer. I'm Tuan's eldest cousin on his mom's side. His mom and my mom are sisters. I'm honored to be here to share some of his life's most monumental moments. At every family gathering, you could always rely on Tuan being the one person who would come over to greet you. Whether you were close or if it was your first encounter, he always made an effort to make you feel like you could sit with him. Tuan was born on June 1st, 1987 in Saigon, Vietnam. He was an only child raised by a single mother. Growing up, he had a favorite stuffy he called Big Bear. He loved school and was a dutiful son. His mom told me a story that she will never forget about him, which exemplifies the type of character he had. In October of 1995, when he was 7, they had the opportunity to move to the States. The day before moving, they were running around the city, wrapping up the last bit of errands. my aunt noticed Tuan eyeing an apple at the market, and he seemed sad. Buying an apple wasn't a simple decision made on my aunt's behalf. Money didn't come easy for them. So for every dollar that went out, there was consideration of how to replace it. However, on this occasion, being that it was the last day he would be in Vietnam before heading to the States, she gave in and bought him the apple. If you know Tuan, he has never been shy about eating. But for some reason, after my aunt bought him the apple, he decided to save it instead of eating it right then and there. My aunt was surprised. When they arrived home, Tuan had the apple cut into pieces and shared it with his 2 cousins that they were living with, instead of having it all for himself. This was his way of parting ways with them. Sorry. This was the kind of person Tuan was at 7 years old and at 36 years old. From childhood to now, we will always remember Tuan for his willingness to share his time, making the effort and bringing us together. Tuan moved from Vietnam and landed in Oakland and spent all of his youth here. He met his wife Sarah while attending Oakland High, then went on to San Francisco State University to get his bachelor's. Shortly after graduating, Tuan and Sarah got their first dog, Lola. He took on lots of different jobs before becoming a police officer. Some jobs overlapped where he was going to school, working at a gas station, at IKEA. He would use his lunch break to nap in his car. He was determined to earn his way. In 2016, Tuan and Sarah got engaged, and we made sure that he sealed the deal in 2018. In August 2019, he was accepted into the academy, and by February 2020, he was sworn into the Oakland Police Department. Tuan's perseverance of becoming a police officer came to fruition. Rising to the occasion is something Tuan did. His lifelong dream was fulfilled, following our grandfather's footsteps. A few days before Tuan passed, he called his mom to catch up. He loved to tease and poke. So instead of saying his usual, "Hey, Mom," it was, "Hey, sister number 5. Vietnamese people labeled their siblings in sequence of birth order instead of names. So none of us actually ever know our aunts and uncles' names. This was his lighthearted way of love, and boy, did he love his mom. He'd always poke fun. He was the lighthearted smile that came into the room. The person you could always count on to share a meal with. And the person who would make sure there was a place for you at the table. I will miss him coming through the door at family gatherings. Miss him at the table. And miss his warmth and cheerfulness. We want to thank Sarah for being his person for all these years, for accepting and loving him as much as we do, and for bringing out the best in him. We also want to thank the Oakland Police Department, his squad mates, his partner. Tuan was so proud to be your brother, and we appreciate you all. Rest easy, Tuan. We will always love you.
Thank you, Jennifer. This time I'd like to introduce Steve Lay, Tuan's uncle.
Good morning, all, and thank you for coming here today to celebrate the memorial ceremony of Officer Tuan Lee. On behalf of our family, my name is Steve Lay. Officer Tuan Lay is my nephew, and I am Tuan's mom's older brother. It was so hard and miserable to live in the past week and ongoing. For the loss of our loved one, Officer Tuan Lee. First, our family would like to thank you so much to all Oakland Police Department, Alameda County Sheriff Department, all other law enforcement agencies around the country, fire department, doctors, nurses, and staff from Highland Hospital, Oakland Chapel of the Chimes, Funeral Home, community organizations, Photo, and Haivang temples. Local and around the country's people, friends and relatives who show their love, cares, assistance, supports, and the condolences to our family from the beginning of the horrible and sorrowful date, December 29, 2023. Throughout this memorial ceremony today for my nephew, Officer Tuan Lay. December 29, 2023 was a horrible and sorrowful day for our family. About 7:15 a.m., I got a call from my family and was told that my nephew, Officer Tuan Lay, got shot on the live duty. I called and spoke with my sister Kathy, Han, Tuan's mom, and learned that Tuan was in a critical condition. I was picked up by Officer Say Chow and rushed to Highland Hospital. I arrived at Highland Hospital around 8 a.m. and went up to Tuan's room. Doctor told us that Tuan's heartbeat was stopped. They cannot do anything more for Tuan. No words can describe the pain in our heart at that moment and ongoing. Tuan lay quietly. There was no miracle of life. And body was slowly getting colder. We all cried in pain. We were desperate in the extreme pain because we could not do anything to save Tuan. We cannot believe what was in front of us and what was really too much to bear and suffering. Nothing can exchange for my nephew Tuan's life. Officer Tuan Lee has gone too young and left behind a lot of his unfinished goals, dreams, and his beloved families behind. We were so sad, and our families are completely devastated. Officer Tuan Lee passed away and left behind so much grief, pain, and memories for family, friends, and his college and the public. Our family are fighting hard to overcome this pain and suffering. We hope that the law enforcement and the court try their best to return justice for Officer Tuan Lee. We will miss you, Officer Tuan Lee, my nephew. We love you. We pray for you. Rest in peace, Officer Tuan Lee, my lovely nephew. From the deepest of our hearts, our families are appreciate and grateful to all and everyone here so much, and all the law enforcement, everyone, for all your love, care, help, support, and condolences. Please forgive us if there's any error during this tough time. Thank you so much. With our love, best regards. I'm going to say in Vietnamese too. Kính chào tất cả quý vị và xin cảm ơn sự hiện diện của quý vị trong buổi lễ tưởng niệm của sĩ quan cảnh sát Tuấn Lê hôm nay. Thay mặt cho gia đình của sĩ quan cảnh sát Tuấn Lê, tôi tên là Steve Lê. Tuấn là cháu tôi và gọi tôi bằng cậu. Trước tiên, gia đình chúng tôi chân thành cảm ơn tất cả mọi người vô cùng. Sở Cảnh sát Oakland, Sở Cảnh sát quận Alameda, Sở Cứu hỏa, tất cả các cơ quan thực thi pháp luật khác trên nước Mỹ, bác sĩ, y tá và các nhân viên từ Bệnh viện Highland, nhà tang lễ, Oakland Chapel of the Chimes, các tổ chức cộng đồng, chùa Phổ Từ và chùa Hải Vân. Người dân địa phương và khắp nơi, bạn thân hữu và người thân trong gia đình. Những người đã thể hiện tình yêu thương, sự quan tâm, giúp đỡ và hỗ trợ đối với gia đình của chúng tôi ngay từ ngày đầu, ngày kinh hoàng và đau buồn, ngày 29 tháng 12 năm 2023. Liên tục cho đến hôm nay, ngày lễ tưởng niệm cho cháu Tuấn Lê. Ngày 29 tháng 12 năm 2023 là ngày khủng khiếp và đau buồn vô cùng đối với gia đình chúng tôi. Khoảng 7:15 sáng, tôi nhận được cuộc gọi điện thoại từ gia đình và được biết tin xấu khi cháu Tuấn đang thi hành nhiệm vụ. Tôi gọi cho em gái tôi là Cathy Hạnh và đó là mẹ của Tuấn, và được biết Tuấn trong tình trạng nguy kịch. Tôi được sĩ quan cảnh sát xoay trao đón và đưa đến bệnh viện Highland. Tôi đến bệnh viện Highland khoảng 8 giờ sáng và lên phòng của Tuấn đang nằm. Bác sĩ nói với chúng tôi rằng nhịp tim của Tuấn đã ngừng đập và họ không thể làm gì được nữa. Không từ ngữ nào có thể diễn tả được nỗi buồn, đau khổ trong lòng chúng tôi lúc đó, hiện tại bây giờ và những ngày sắp tới. Chúng tôi tuyệt vọng trong đau đớn vô cùng vì không thể làm gì để có thể cứu sống cháu Tuấn. Chúng tôi không thể tin được những gì đang diễn ra trước mắt mình, và điều đó thực sự quá sức chịu đựng và đau khổ. Không có gì có thể đánh đổi được mạng sống con người. Sĩ quan cảnh sát Tuấn Lê ra đi khi còn quá trẻ và đã để lại rất nhiều dự tính, hoài bão và ước mơ còn dang dở. Cũng như tràn ngập niềm tiếc nuối và nỗi đau buồn sâu thẳm trong trái tim của gia đình, bạn hữu, đồng nghiệp và công chúng. Không có từ nào có thể diễn tả hết được nỗi đau thương và mất mát này. Gia đình chúng tôi sẽ cố gắng hết sức để vượt qua giai đoạn thương tâm này. Và lần nữa, chúng tôi cũng mong rằng tất cả nhà thực thi pháp luật và tòa án sẽ trả lại sự công bằng này cho cháu Officer Tuấn Lê, sĩ quan cảnh sát Tuấn Lê. Sự thương yêu, lo lắng, giúp đỡ và hỗ trợ của quý vị là động lực to lớn cho gia đình chúng tôi trong lúc này. Cháu Tuấn, gia đình rất thương nhớ cháu, yêu thương cháu và cầu nguyện cho cháu được an nghỉ bình yên và siêu thoát. Cũng mong quý vị cùng gia đình chúng tôi cầu nguyện cho sĩ quan cảnh sát Tuấn Lê an nghỉ bình yên và hạnh phúc nơi miền vĩnh cửu. Gia đình chúng tôi chân thành cảm ơn tất cả quý vị đã thương yêu, giúp đỡ, lo lắng, hỗ trợ và chia sẻ sự mất mát đau buồn này của chúng tôi trong những ngày qua. Trong lúc tang gia bối rối, nếu có điều gì sơ suất, xin thông cảm bỏ qua cho. Thay mặt gia đình, xin chân thành cảm tạ, trân trọng kính chào. Xin cảm ơn. Thank you so much.
Come in. Thank you, Steve. This time I'd like to introduce Kenny Fung, Tuan's brother-in-law.
Thank you all for being here, and thanks for those that are also supporting and watching online too. It's overwhelming when we walked in here, and we all stand in silence and to honor my brother-in-law. So very appreciative of everybody who's here. Today we honor a fallen hero. You know him as Officer Tuan Lei. But he's truly my brother from another mother. And I often think about what was going through his head when he found out my sister Sarah not only have me as a brother, but not one, but two, but not three, but four older brothers before he even started dating her. I just want to talk about his love, and just was he so enamored in it that it didn't matter. And as big brothers, we wouldn't be doing our jobs right if we weren't at least giving Tuan a little good old-fashioned pat down. Does he even have a strategy on how he's going to approach her four big brothers? And then from my cousins sharing yesterday, my youngest one is hot-headed. We grilled him. And it's not just from us he has to win over. Sarah has some cousins. And they all went to the same school, and they are tight like sisters. They're so tight with each other, they even form a gang of their own. I'm talking about having a secret name for themselves, all getting the same tattoo, that kind of gang. So needless to say, Tuan has his work cut out for him. But to make a long story short, he remained loyal and stayed true to his intention, and he wasn't afraid or scared off by any of us. They went to the senior ball together. They started dating that summer, and but not sure what it was. Was it a thought of just not wanting to piss us off, or he simply knew that he loved Sarah with his heart, with his whole heart, and he pursued her with his love that is few and far between. I also love the fact that he proposed to my sister while they were on a cruise with a couple of my brothers and their family and my parents. They got to witness this. And just to speak to whether or not Tuan has this whole strategy thought out, he was asking my brothers what would be a good place, a good occasion to propose. They found a secluded beach. Tuan took Sarah on a walk right along the beach, right where the ocean and the waves meet the sand. I think my brothers weren't as prepared, and by the time they realized it, he was already getting down on his knees. He proposed to my sister, and she said yes, and you can just tell how happy that made him. And then the next thing that he wanted to do is to make sure my brother got a good picture of it, so he recreated that scene right away. He wants to remember that moment. They have a rather comical relationships, and me being around them, it's like watching a sitcom. They like to joke around with each other, get on each other's nerves. They go on all these outdoors adventures. And from what I hear, my sister is not the most outdoor type of person. So it made it easy for Tuan. Tuan waited for her on these hikes. They enjoy the nature. And when they're just chilling at home, you can be sure you'll see Tuan in his hoodies, a hat or a beanie, and his Crocs. They make such a wonderful couple together, and Tuan takes so good care of my sister, and she is the love of his life. He also have other loves. They also have their 2 dogs, Lola and Bixby. Lola, who they've had for over 10 years, and every time I see her, it just breaks your heart seeing how much his best friend she misses her best friend. And they have such a wonderful bond together. And I can't ask for a better brother-in-law than Tuan. But selfishly, the years together as a family just didn't feel like it was enough. Though he's not particularly into sports, I appreciate him watching along with us whenever a game is on. He would get excited about a play or a call like 5 seconds after we were done yelling at the TV. It's like a light bulb that just came on. Again, that's just what I love about him. And, the squad mates or the stories we've heard, you guys could attest to this. He may not be the quickest, smartest guy in the room, but when he gets it, when he learns something new language, that light bulb comes on. He gets excited for you. And he'll use it, he'll run with it, and he'll become your biggest and loudest cheerleader on your sideline. He loved all his nieces and nephew, and always making a point to attend all their birthdays and gatherings despite having an overnight shift and a busy schedule. And he has a lot of them. He has a lot of nieces and nephews. Again, he loves being their biggest and loudest cheerleader. You can see him in the back, like in the audience like this, and his voice will be the loudest and the biggest, and when it's all quiet. He loves going to their niece's piano recital performance. What touched me was when him and Sarah came out to support my daughter's first popcorn sales with the Cub Scout. My daughters didn't like it, but Tuan and Sarah made it bearable. It's good to see it. Family member there. He bought every flavor there was. And I love him for that. I know they will all miss their Uncle Tuan. And to me, he's a big, huggable marshmallow. And to all your kids out there, he's like a Baymax from Big Hero 6. Big, huggable, but a superhero. We love him. Even though he was big, we love him more because he had an even bigger heart. He never misses an opportunity. He always gives us a big hug right before he leaves for his shift. And we always want him to come home safely as we were giving him the hug. Even though I am his big brother, he always watched over me and my family like the bigger brother, walking us to our cars, making sure we get in safely. I know this news hit his friends just as hard, but I'm glad that both Sarah and Tuan have such good friends, as I can tell by the pictures, the slideshows that was shown in the past few days. He knew how to have fun, and we love seeing all the pictures and all the travelings you guys did together and living life to its fullest. Tuan's stories is truly remarkable, as you heard from Tuan's cousin. If you get to hear about his upbringing and how he had to endure a whole lot of challenges and setbacks, and was pretty much raised only by his mom. In return, he wants to be able to take care of his mom as she did, raising him by herself. And Tuan's mom shared with me that in a recent call that Tuan made, he told her that if anything should happen to him, he wants to make sure Sarah's taken care of. He persevered and worked hard on providing for his family. No matter what the work entailed, starting out as a security guard, finally graduating from the academy, and becoming an officer for the Oakland Police Department. And he wore that badge proudly, serving the people in the city he grew up in. I know what he does for the city of Oakland and his community is not just self-serving, but a selfless act of love and sacrifice. To his family and to my sister, we love Tuan very much and accepted him as our own. And I know Tuan is not the one to take a handout. We are all very proud of you, what you have accomplished and what you stood for. And if Tuan has made an impact on you in a positive way, I encourage you to carry on his legacy to impact those around you, whatever it is, whether it be lending an ear to listen, or stopping to help someone on the road, or if you change your mind about buying some Crocs, do it because that's what Tuan would have done. We are all very sad to see you go, but we cherish all the times we had together and remember you for all of our lives.
Thank you, Kenny. At this time, I would ask all of you to remain in your places for the flag and badge ceremony and presentation.
my people who just lost somebody. Your best friend, your baby, your man or your lady. Put your hand way up high. We won't ever say bye. No, no, no. Mamas, daddies, sisters, brothers, friends, and cousins. This is for my people who lost their grandmothers. Lift your hand to the sky, 'cause we won't ever say bye. As a child, there were them times I didn't get it, but you kept me in line. I didn't know I didn't show up sometimes on Sunday mornings, and I missed you. But I'm glad we talked through all them grown folk things separation brings. You never let me know it, you never let it show, because you loved me and obviously there's so much more left to say if you were with me today face to face.
You, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Good girl. Get in the ball.
Come a long way from where we began.
Good girl.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong, and what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Let the light guide your way. Yeah.
CBS News Bay Area, this is the Afternoon Edition.
And good afternoon, I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We begin with breaking news out of Tahoe this afternoon and in the Sierra. A search now underway after an avalanche at Palisades, Tahoe. This happened around 9:30 this morning above the GS Gully area of KT-22. The resort says patrol and mountain operation teams are looking for skiers, and right now, all lift operations at Palisades and Alpine are closed for today. A spokesperson with the resort told our CBS affiliate in Reno that there are no immediate word of any injuries. We'll keep an eye on this. This is a live look at their web cameras from Palisades from the past hour. The UC Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab says they have received 3 inches of snow in the last 24 hours. And the Sierra Avalanche Center reported a considerable risk of avalanche for today and tomorrow. And avalanche danger is not new to Tahoe. All the ski resorts have programs in place to monitor the buildup of unstable snow. In 1982, 7 people died of an avalanche at Alpine Meadows. In that incident, the snow came crashing down, burying a parking lot and a building. So let's get the First Alert meteorologist Jessica Birch, who has more on the dangerous conditions at Tahoe and in the Sierra.
Yeah, Ryan, well, a strong winter storm has entered the Sierra today, bringing high-intensity snowfall and gale force winds to that region. High avalanche danger will continue to increase throughout the day today, with avalanches occurring in a variety of areas throughout this afternoon. Now, the first problem is that there's a surface hoar layer and weak snow near the crust, and it's buried about 1 to 2 feet below that snow surface. Today's storm is going to rapidly load those weak layers, causing another avalanche cycle to occur. Now, the second problem, it has to do with the winds. And this is what's behind me right here. We forecasted gale force winds from the southwest today with rapid snowfall that's building in large areas with those wind slabs in the tree line areas. Now, these wind slabs are building quickly with that onset of heavy snow this afternoon. Now, wind slab avalanches are expected to occur today. Snowfall rates will increase into this afternoon with about 2 to 3 inches per hour in the mountains, up to around 2 feet of snow is possible along the Sierra Crest by tomorrow morning. Southwest winds will be at 45 to 60 mile per hour winds, and the higher elevated areas could see gusts anywhere up to around 100 mile per hour winds. So we're going to talk more about this, but for now, I'm going to send it back over to you, Ryan.
All right, thanks, Jess. And take a look at the video we just got into our newsroom. This is from our crew heading up to Palisades, Tahoe. These are the conditions drivers are facing along Interstate 80. Right now, you can see the roads are extremely dangerous and covered in snow. And we'll continue to follow this breaking news story of an avalanche at Palisades, Tahoe, and bring you the very latest as soon as we arrive on the scene. The other big story we're following today is the Oakland community coming together to remember the life and legacy of Officer Tuan Le. He was killed while responding to a burglary near Jack London Square. Our very own Sean Chitness was at the ceremony and the memorial and joins us live with much more. Sean.
Well, Ryan, it is wrapping up just as we speak right now, so let me step out of the way so you can see a little bit of what is happening. The hearse is still there that brought the remains of Officer Tuan Le, and we are starting to watch the officers who were inside come out as that service wraps up. It truly was an incredible show of support this morning for Officer Tuan Le here at Three Crosses Church. Really one final chance to say goodbye to a loved one, community member, and fellow officer. This morning, a procession began in Oakland and then made its way here to Castro Valley. We were able to watch as members of law enforcement and much of the Oakland Police Department made their way off the freeway and then here into the church parking lot. OPD officers got information waiting for one of their own, standing silent in the cold as the rain poured on them for more than an hour. Then inside, a memorial service that brought together leaders from around Northern California, including Attorney General Rob Bonta, Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao, and others from the Bay Area. We also had the chance to hear from his family, some who spoke during the service this morning.
I will miss him coming through the door at family gatherings, miss him at the table, and miss his warmth and cheerfulness. Rest easy, Tuan. We will always love you.
Officer Le graduated from the police academy in 2020, serving as a patrol officer and then becoming a community resource officer. Following up on a commitment that he made early on in his life, he served in the Asian Youth Services Committee in Oakland's Chinatown. born in Vietnam. He came to Oakland in 2001, and for more than a week now, we've heard from so many people about the relationships he helped to build between the Asian community and the police department. A reminder, some pointed out today about the importance of having officers that reflect the people they serve. So as we continue to watch these officers walking out of the church here, it's really important to point out how so many wanted to honor the fact that only at the age of 36, Officer Lay had such a huge impact on everyone who knew him. And today he was remembered as someone that was a devoted husband and son, someone with a big smile, and someone who was always known for his kindness. Ryan, back to you.
All right, well, thank you very much. Sean Chitness reporting live from the Three Crosses Church in Castro Valley. In the meantime, police have made 4 arrests in the case, some connected to the shooting, some connected to the burglary that brought Officer Lay to the scene. We have also learned of another arrest in Southern California connected to the robbery. You can see more from today's memorial and the latest on the suspects arrested in connection to Lay's murder on our website at kpix.com and streaming on the CBS News Bay Area app. Boeing CEO is talking for the very first time about Friday's terrifying moment when a panel flew off an Alaska Airlines jet that was full of passengers. As Chris Van Cleve reports, he says Boeing wants to make sure this never happens again.
The haunting image of this gaping hole in the Alaska 737 MAX 9 shook Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun.
I didn't know what happened to whoever was supposed to be in the seat next to that hole in the airplane. I got kids, I got grandkids, and so do you.
His first public remarks since a door panel blew off the plane were to Boeing employees Tuesday.
We're going to approach this, number one, acknowledging our mistake. We are going to approach it with 100% and complete transparency every step of the way.
Investigators are honing in on the 4 bolts designed to hold that door panel in place, bolts that so far they cannot find. United and Alaska have both identified other planes where those same bolts were loose. Calhoun says Boeing must now rebuild trust.
We're going to have to demonstrate it by our actions, our willingness to work directly and transparently with them, and to make sure they understand that every airplane that Boeing has its name on that's in this sky is in fact safe.
Now Capitol Hill is demanding answers from the FAA. Billy Nolan is the former acting administrator.
Is there a sufficient amount of FAA oversight of Boeing and its suppliers today?
I would argue that there is. This is the right case to ask ourselves these questions. What have we missed? That's a valid question to ask. And what else should we be doing?
With all MAX 9s in the U.S. grounded, airlines are still awaiting guidance about the new inspections.
And coming up, a proposal could bring big changes to youth football, who they want to ban from tackling.